CD2. Skills for Success. Listening and Speaking. Level 4. Published and copyrighted by Oxford University Press, 2011. CD2. Unit 4. Healthcare. The Q Classroom. Page 65.
Today we'll discuss the Unit 4 question, How is healthcare changing? Let's start with Sophie. First of all, do you think healthcare is changing?
Oh, of course.
How?
Well, for one thing, technology. There's new technology all the time. Nowadays, doctors can perform surgeries with lasers that leave hardly any scar. And there are lots of new technologies for detecting illnesses.
Okay, technology is one aspect of healthcare change. What else? Una?
There are more specialists now. You can find doctors who focus on your particular problem.
That's true. As the field of medicine grows, more people need to specialize, don't they? What else? How else is healthcare changing? Felix?
I think there is more emphasis on prevention now. They used to wait until people got sick and then try to cure them. But now we know about nutrition and the importance of a healthy lifestyle, and they can do tests to see if someone has a high chance of getting a particular illness.
So we've got technology, more specialists, more emphasis on prevention. Is there anything else? What do you think, Marcus? How else is healthcare changing?
People live longer now. That must be changing healthcare. There's probably more focus on diseases you can get when you're older.
That's true. Also, because people are living longer and older people need more health care, it means that healthcare systems are costing governments more than they used to.
Listening 1. Vacation, adventure, and surgery? Listen for main ideas. Page 68.
Thailand, an exotic vacation land known for its Buddhas, its beaches, the bustle of Bangkok. But for people needing medical care, it's known increasingly for Bumrungrad Hospital, a luxurious place which claims to have more foreign patients than any other hospital in the world. It's like a United Nations of patients here. They're cared for by more than 500 doctors, most with international training. The hospital has state-of-the-art technology, and here's the clincher, the price. Treatment here costs about 1/8 what it does in the United States. That's right, 1/8. Kurt Schroeder is the CEO of Bumrungrad.
This place where we're sitting right now is the #1 international hospital in the world.
I haven't heard anybody yet who's told us that they take more than 350,000 international patients a year.
One of them is Byron Bonnywell, who lives 12,000 miles away in Shreveport, Louisiana, where he owns and runs a campground for RVs. A year and a half ago, he had a heart attack, and his doctor told him he really needed bypass surgery.
They told you were going to die.
Yeah, they did tell me I was going to die.
You did not have insurance.
Did not have insurance, no.
Right.
He estimates he would have had to pay over $100,000 out of his own pocket for the operation he needed, a complicated quintuple bypass.
And did you actually decide not to do it?
Yeah, I did. I guess I'd rather die with a little bit of money in my pocket than live poor.
He says his health was deteriorating quickly when he read about Bumrungrad Hospital.
I was in my doctor's office one day having some tests done, and there was a copy of Business Week magazine there, and there was an article in Business Week magazine about Bumrungrad Hospital. And I came home and went on the internet and made an appointment, and away I went to Thailand.
He made that appointment after he learned that the bypass would cost him about $12,000. He chose his cardiologist, Dr. Chad Wanishiwad, after reading on the hospital's website that he used to practice at the National Institutes of Health in Maryland.
That's where he practiced for a number of years.
Right.
Every doctor that I saw there has practiced in the United States.
You never called him?
No, never talked to him.
But 3 days after walking into the hospital, he was on the operating table. 2 weeks later, he was home. How was the nursing? How was the treatment?
I found it so strange in Thailand because they were all registered nurses. Being in the hospital in the United States, you see all kinds of orderlies, all kinds of aides, maybe one RN on duty on the whole floor of the hospital. In Thailand, I bet I had 8 RNs just on my section of the floor alone. First-class care.
That's what the hospital prides itself on. It's first-class medical care, which it can offer so cheaply because everything is cheaper here, particularly labor and malpractice insurance. You can get just about any kind of treatment, from chemotherapy to plastic surgery. The rooms look more like hotel rooms than hospital rooms, and that's no accident. The idea was to make the whole hospital look like a hotel, and a 5-star hotel at that. Take a look at the lobby. Boutiques and restaurants to suit every taste and nationality.
Part of the concept was to create an environment when people came in, they didn't feel like they were in a hospital.
What's wrong with, this is a hospital. What's wrong with looking like a hospital?
Because nobody really wants to go to a hospital.
India wants to become the world leader in medical tourism and might just make it. Alongside the familiar images of the country, teeming, dusty streets, poverty, you can add a gleaming new private hospital. The hospital boom in India was fueled by India's growing middle class who demanded access to quality health care. Now the country known for exporting doctors is trying hard to import patients. The most important player is the Apollo Group, the largest hospital group in India, 3rd largest in the world. Anjali Kapoor Bissell is a director of Apollo's International Patient Office.
Why is it important to get foreign patients here?
It makes sense to establish India as sort of like the world destination for healthcare.
That's the ambition, that India should become the world
Destination for healthcare, that's right.
But why should foreigners come here? Well, it's even cheaper than Thailand for most procedures, with prices about 10% what they would be in the U.S. Stephanie Settlemeyer didn't want to spend the tens of thousands it would have cost her for the hip surgery she needed, and she didn't have insurance. So with her daughter by her side, she flew from Vero Beach, Florida, to the Apollo Hospital in Chennai. But she didn't come here just to save money. She came for an operation she couldn't get at home. It's called hip resurfacing, and it's changed people's lives. It hasn't been approved yet by the FDA, but in India, Dr. Vijay Bose has performed over 300 of them.
What did it cost you?
$5,800.
Including food, service, nurses, the works.
Private nurse after surgery. And feeling always that they were just totally attentive. If you rang the bell next to your bed, boop, somebody was there immediately.
By the time we left India, she was into the tourism part of her treatment, convalescing at a seaside resort an hour's drive from the hospital.
Is it standard that when somebody gets surgery at a hospital here, they'll come to a resort like this afterwards?
Yeah, they suggest it.
This, too, is not very expensive, is it?
$140 a day.
For you and your daughter?
For myself and my daughter, including an enormous, fabulous breakfast that they serve until 10:30.
I think a lot of people seeing you sitting here in what's usually called post-op and hearing your tales of what the op was like are going to start thinking about India.
Yeah, and combining surgery and paradise.
Listen for details. Page 69. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Listening skill. Listening for reasons. Page 70.
Harrison is flying to Brazil because his mother is sick and he wants to see her.
I decided to delay the surgery. Here's why.
Harrison is flying to Brazil. His mother is sick and he wants to see her.
I decided to delay the surgery. It's too expensive. Plus, I want to find a better doctor.
A. Page 70. Excerpt 1.
He estimates he would have had to pay over $100,000 out of his own pocket for the operation he needed, a complicated quintuple bypass.
And did you actually decide not to do it?
Yeah, I did. I guess I'd rather die with a little bit of money in my pocket than live poor.
Excerpt 2.
He says his health was deteriorating quickly when he read about Bumrungrad Hospital.
I was in my doctor's office one day having some tests done, and there was a copy of Business Week magazine there, and there was an article in Business Week magazine about Bumrungrad Hospital. And I came home and went on the internet and made an appointment, and away I went to Thailand.
He made that appointment after he learned that the bypass would cost him about $12,000. He chose his cardiologist, Dr. Chad Wanishiwad, after reading on the hospital's website that he used to practice at the National Institutes of Health in Maryland.
Excerpt 3.
I found it so strange in Thailand because they were all registered nurses. Being in the hospital in the United States, you see all kinds of orderlies, all kinds of aides, maybe one RN on duty on the whole floor of the hospital. In Thailand, I bet I had 8 RNs just on my section of the floor alone. First-class care.
That's what the hospital prides itself on. It's first-class medical care, which it can offer so cheaply because everything is cheaper here, particularly labor and malpractice insurance. You can get just about any kind of treatment, from chemotherapy to plastic surgery.
Excerpt 4.
The rooms look more like hotel rooms than hospital rooms, and that's no accident. The idea was to make the whole hospital look like a hotel, and a 5-star hotel at that. Take a look at the lobby. Boutiques and restaurants to suit every taste and nationality.
Part of the concept was to create an environment when people came in, they didn't feel like they were in a hospital.
What's wrong with, this is a hospital. What's wrong with looking like a hospital?
Because nobody really wants to go to a hospital.
Excerpt 5.
Stephanie Settlemeyer didn't want to spend the tens of thousands it would have cost her for the hip surgery she needed, and she didn't have insurance. So with her daughter by her side, she flew from Vero Beach, Florida, to the Apollo Hospital in Chennai. But she didn't come here just to save money. She came for an operation she couldn't get at home. It's called hip resurfacing, and it's changed people's lives. It hasn't been approved yet by the FDA, but in India, Dr. Vijay Bose has performed over 300 of them.
What did it cost you?
$5,800.
Including food, service, nurses, the works.
Private nurse after surgery. And feeling always that they were just totally attentive. If you rang the bell next to your bed, boop, somebody was there immediately.
Listening 2. Medical travel can create problems. Listen for main ideas. Page 73.
Medical tourism is now a huge industry all over the world, especially in Asia and the Middle East. Medical tourists are people who travel to other countries to get medical care they cannot get at home, or for care that they would have to wait too long for at home, or they would have to pay too much for at home. Many countries are eager to gain customers in this healthcare market, about $40 billion a year and growing. A recent study showed that in 2008, the Middle Eastern country of Jordan had over 210,000 patients from some 48 foreign countries, bringing in around $1 billion. And the list of countries providing these services keeps growing and growing, and now includes Turkey, Costa Rica, Argentina, South Africa, Hungary, India, Thailand, and Brazil. But is there a downside as well? Some critics point to the difference between the care provided to the medical tourist and the care provided to the typical resident of the country. Maria Torres represents World Health Focus, a nonprofit agency working to promote better health across the globe. Ms. Torres, why is World Health Focus studying this growing trend of medical tourism?
Well, we know there are many financial advantages for the host countries. Medical tourism clearly brings in a lot of money. Developing countries like Thailand and India benefit not only from the income, but from the added jobs and more advanced medical equipment and technology. However, we're becoming concerned about the quality of medical care available to the people who live in these countries. And right now, we're focusing on problems medical tourism might cause for the poorer residents of these countries.
If medical tourism brings in new technology, and creates jobs for skilled professionals like doctors and nurses, it seems like this would help the local people. So what do you see as the problems?
Well, the main problem is for the people with low incomes. They go to public hospitals and clinics for medical care. Let me give you an example. In India in 2003, 75% of the total amount spent on health care was in the private sector. But most of India's population, much of it is rural, is served by government-run health facilities. And less than 1 in 3 of these public health facilities has enough doctors and nurses, equipment, and medicine to provide good medical care. In other words, millions of people in rural India have difficulty getting the basic medical care they need. This is in stark contrast to the medical facilities in cities that provide care to medical tourists. In these facilities, they have plenty of medicine, state-of-the-art equipment, and many highly skilled doctors and nurses. About 80% of the specialists in India are in large cities. World Health Focus is concerned that doctors and nurses will choose to take jobs in these modern urban hospitals rather than in the public hospitals in the rural areas. So, as we see it, the basic medical care available to people who go to government-run health facilities, especially in rural areas, could get worse if medical tourism continues to grow.
As Maria Torres mentioned, the amount of money available for public health is not the only problem. And India is not the only country where there is a concern that medical tourism may create a shortage of doctors who are willing to work in public health care. Thailand is facing a similar problem. Siri Raj Hospital in the center of Bangkok is the largest public hospital in Thailand. More than 1 million patients go there each year for medical care under the National Health Insurance System. It's the oldest hospital in Thailand, founded in 1888 by the king, who established the hospital after the death of his son, Siri Raj. He wanted to have a hospital that would serve the basic medical needs of the people of Thailand, as well as provide training for doctors. Every day, 365 days a year, Siri Raj Hospital is crowded with patients seeking medical care. On our visit to Siri Raj Hospital, we met with Dr. Pan Chitarong, who has worked at Siri Raj Hospital for more than 10 years. We asked him how medical tourism is affecting the hospital.
Well, right now our main problem is we have trouble keeping doctors. Doctors leave public hospitals like Siri Raj Hospital to practice in the private sector hospitals. And I can't blame them, really. The private hospitals are modern, with all the technology, and the doctors can make more money in the private hospitals. Unfortunately, doctors sometimes have to make a difficult choice between taking care of people at a public hospital or making good money at a private hospital. Just last week, the head of surgery at our hospital resigned to go to work at Bumrungrad Hospital, a private hospital.
So the main reason doctors are leaving is for more money?
Yes, but that is not the only reason. Medical tourists usually come here for some kind of surgery. So these private hospitals need more surgeons and other specialists. They don't need primary care doctors. And many surgeons and specialists would rather work in these private hospitals where they can focus on one medical problem. This is easier and much less stressful than dealing with a lot of people's health problems all day in a public health facility.
We asked Maria Torres if World Health Focus is concerned about more doctors choosing to work as surgeons and specialists.
Certainly. We have found that when a country becomes a medical tourism center, priorities can change. There is a shift away from primary basic care toward greater specialization. Primary care doctors are the ones who see people when they are sick. They are the ones who take care of children and keep average people healthy. But medical tourists need specialists, like surgeons, more than anything else. Medical tourism may be encouraging more and more medical students to choose to focus on these specialties, rather than the general practice that local people are most likely to need.
Although medical tourism can cause problems, there may be solutions, according to Dr. Chitarong and Maria Torres.
Many of our doctors want the best of both worlds. They feel an obligation to take care of the local people, but also want to have the advantages of working in the private sector. As a result, some work at Siriraj full-time and part-time at Bumrungrad. So I feel encouraged. I see the doctors using their training and experience in both places.
I think in time, countries like India and Thailand will find a balance between serving the medical tourist and the local population. Obviously, medical tourists bring in money to a country, but countries want to take care of their own citizens too.
Listen for details. Page 74. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Vocabulary skill. Collocations with verbs and nouns. B. Page 76. 1.
This new trend is creating several problems.
2.
Every winter, the Reyes family takes a trip to South America.
3.
If I do enough research, I can find the best doctor.
4.
Remember that you have to see the doctor on Monday.
5.
Mrs. Blake can walk much more easily ever since she had hip surgery.
6.
Although the problem was complicated, we found a solution.
7.
We're not sure if we should go, but we have to make a decision soon.
8.
The man went to the hospital to have some tests done.
Pronunciation. Can and can't. Page 79.
I can go. I can't go.
A. Page 79. 1.
The nurses can speak Thai and English.
2.
Patients can stay as long as they want.
3.
You can make an appointment online.
4.
His doctor can't see him today.
5.
Patients can usually spend time at a beach resort.
6.
I can't return for a checkup this month.
7.
I can't find the address of the doctor's office.
8.
Most patients can get the care they need.
9.
Patients can visit the hospital before they have surgery.
10.
Sometimes a patient can't choose which doctor to have.
Speaking skill. Asking open-ended questions. B. Page 81.
1.
What's wrong with, this is a hospital. What's wrong with looking like a hospital?
Because nobody really wants to go to a hospital.
2.
This place where we're sitting right now is the #1 international hospital in the world.
I haven't heard anybody yet who's told us that they take more than 350,000 international patients a year.
3.
Why is it important to get foreign patients here?
It makes sense to establish India as sort of like the world destination for healthcare.
Unit 5. Art Today. The Q Classroom. Page 87.
The Unit 5 question is, what makes a work of art popular? What do you think, Marcus?
One thing that makes a work of art popular is if the artist is popular. What I mean is, when artists draw attention to themselves in some way, by being controversial or beautiful or getting a lot of publicity for any reason, then people get more interested in their art and buy it.
Interesting point. What else makes a work of art popular? Sophie?
I think that a work of art becomes popular when it expresses something that is true for a lot of people. For example, when it expresses a feeling that everybody has, or if it's about an experience that many people have had.
What do you think, Una? What makes a work of art popular?
Maybe it depends on the art. Popular books and movies are usually exciting.
So maybe they're not necessarily about experiences we've had, but about experiences we would like to have.
Yes, or about things we'd rather watch or read about than experience ourselves, like mysteries and thrillers.
What's your opinion, Felix? What makes a work of art popular?
I think I agree with Una that it depends on the art. Popular music is usually music with a catchy beat that people can easily sing with or dance to.
That's right. And popular visual art is art that people think is pretty, the kinds of things they like to put on walls in their homes. Sometimes critics like art that is disturbing or thought-provoking, but I think most people just like things that look nice.
Listening 1. Manga's new popularity. Listen for main ideas. Page 91.
It's possible that you haven't yet heard of the Japanese comic book style called manga. But don't worry, you soon will. Manga is known for its distinctive artistic style, in which the youthful-looking heroes have big round eyes. It's been popular in Japan since the 1950s. The US and Europe started to pay attention in the late 80s and early 90s, and now you'll see the comic books in unexpected places, like bookstores and your local library. So what's the big deal about manga? We visited the recent Planet Comic convention and asked around. John Abrams is a buyer for a major bookstore chain. Abrams says all the major bookstore chains have taken note of the rise in manga's popularity. The comics I recall from my childhood were about superheroes battling bad guys, but manga is different. John Abrams says that manga is not like the old comics.
Our generation grew up reading about heroes fighting to save the world, but manga tells all kinds of stories. I think that attracts different readers. And each manga story is longer, the length of a book. Once a reader becomes interested in a story or a character, he or she can usually read a whole series of books about that same character. And that means that bookstores are paying attention. If someone is buying a series of books, we want that person to be our customer.
Abrams says there's greater variety in the types of stories manga tells.
Just about everything, from science fiction to high school dramas to sports stories. And I think another factor is the art itself. Manga looks a lot like video games, and that attracts many younger readers.
Manga, unlike earlier American comics, appeals to a different breed of reader, girls. 60% of manga readers are female. 14-year-old Tina Roberts is one of the young readers at the convention. We met her and her mother at a booth that specializes in shoujo, manga written especially for girls.
Manga is really great. I really like the characters and the stories. I used to think comics were all about fighting, but manga has stories about regular girls like me. At Planet Comic last year, I saw Rumiko Takahashi. I couldn't believe it. She writes Inuyasha, a really good story about a girl who goes back in time. These conventions are really cool because sometimes you get to meet the artists.
Although many people believe true manga still comes from Japan, a lot of manga or manga-style books are now produced in North America, many by female artists, and this may be contributing to its increased popularity. After our encounter with Tina, we attended a session about North American manga and about an American manga company called Tokyo Pop. Colin Baxter, a UCLA graduate student who's studying manga, explained Tokyo Pop's success.
Yeah, this guy, Stuart Levy, founded Tokyo Pop in LA in 1997 after working over in Japan, and he's had amazing success. And he broke all the Western comic book rules. For one thing, he published all his books from right to left, just like they do in Japan, but the opposite of traditional American comics. And he printed them in black and white, like most manga, not color, like most American comics. And every single book sold for less than $10. They must be doing something right. In 2005, they reached 1,000 titles and are bringing in more than $40 million in yearly sales. They're on all the social networking sites, and they sell video games, produce films, and hold contests. No wonder manga is so popular.
Margaret Brown, a librarian from Topeka, Kansas, has a different take on manga's popularity. She's part of a panel that will talk later today about manga and its new role in libraries. I asked her if her library included manga among its titles.
Oh my goodness, yes. We've got a whole section devoted to manga in the children and young adult categories. Manga is incredibly popular. On any given day, I'd say at least 3/4 of our manga titles are in circulation, so we plan to expand that section of the library. That's why it's so exciting to come to conventions like these to see all of the great new titles.
According to Brown, there's a connection between manga and more traditional forms of literature.
I think anything that helps young people have an appreciation for reading is terrific. And because manga looks like television shows and video games, it can get kids to turn off the TV and actually read. And like all literature, good manga shows the development of characters and plot over time. We're even starting a manga discussion group at our library so younger readers can talk about these important parts of any story.
Listen for details. Page 91. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Listening skill. Making inferences. Page 92.
At Planet Comic last year, I saw Rumiko Takahashi. I couldn't believe it. She writes Inuyasha, a really good story about a girl who goes back in time. These conventions are really cool because sometimes you get to meet the artists.
A. Page 93. Excerpt 1.
I think anything that helps young people have an appreciation for reading is terrific. And because manga looks like television shows and video games, it can get kids to turn off the TV and actually read.
Excerpt 2.
Abram says all the major bookstore chains have taken note of the rise in manga's popularity.
Excerpt 3.
Our generation grew up reading about heroes fighting to save the world, but manga tells all kinds of stories. I think that attracts different readers, and each manga story is longer, the length of a book.
B. Page 93.
Excerpt 1.
Oh my goodness, yes. We've got a whole section devoted to manga in the children and young adult categories. Manga is incredibly popular. On any given day, I'd say at least 3/4 of our manga titles are in circulation, so we plan to expand that section of the library.
Excerpt 2.
Yeah, this guy, Stuart Levy, founded Tokyo Pop in LA in 1997 after working over in Japan, and he's had amazing success. And he broke all the Western comic book rules. For one thing, he published all his books from right to left, just like they do in Japan, but the opposite of traditional American comics. And he printed them in black and white, like most manga, not color, like most American comics. And every single book sold for less than $10.
Listening to Thomas Kincaid. Listen for main ideas. Page 95.
Okay, a little test for you. Who is the artist who sold more canvases than any other painter in history? more than Picasso, Rembrandt, Gauguin, Monet, Manet, Renoir, Van Gogh combined. If you didn't say Thomas Kinkade, then you've been shopping in the wrong places. He is America's, the world's, most collected living artist. He produces paintings by the container load. He is to art what Henry Ford was to automobiles. Ford said of his Model T, you can have it in any color as long as it's black. Thomas Kinkade might say, you can have it in any color as long as it's in every color.
Everyone can identify with a fragrant garden, with the beauty of sunset, with the quiet of nature, with a warm and cozy cottage.
Cottage. He is a one-man cottage industry. There's Candlelight Cottage, Twilight Cottage, Cottage by the Sea, Sweetheart Cottage, Foxglove Cottage, Teacup Cottage. For variety, there are lighthouses, old-time street scenes, and gardens by the gazillion. If you like 6 sugars in your coffee, these are the paintings for you. While some art lovers might head for New York or Paris or Florence, Kinkade fans make their pilgrimage to quaint and cozy Placerville, California, where the master grew up.
There's been million-seller books and million-seller CDs, but there hasn't been, till now, million-seller art. We have found a way to bring to millions of people an art that they can understand.
Art and the power of marketing and multiplication. The cottage industry is now traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the name Media Arts Group. Last year alone, it sold over $100 million worth of reproductions. Last summer, Craig Fleming, then CEO of the company, took us through the unique Kinkade cloning process. A few dabs of paint, and presto. Each canvas $1,000 to $50,000 framed. The operation is huge. More than 400 employees work in this vast artist's garret, where forklifts and power tools and assembly lines push the artist's vision out the door to the more than 350 Kinkade galleries in the U.S. and overseas. More than 600 more are being planned. Is there any concern that as this thing just gets bigger and bigger, people might be concerned that it's the result of a process and a factory floor, but there's no Kinkade in the Kinkade?
Well, Tom paints every single painting that we produce, and it's still an original Kinkade as far as we're concerned, of his image.
Picasso, that titan of 20th century art, was a rank amateur when it came to marketing. How do you regard Picasso?
I don't believe in time that he will be regarded as the titan that he is now. He is a man of great talent who, to me, used it to create 3 Picassos before breakfast because he could get $10,000 each for them.
You may not create 3 Kinkades before breakfast, but you may sell 30,000 before lunch.
There's over 40 walls in the average American home. Tom says our job is to figure out how to populate every single wall and every single home and every single business throughout the world with his painting.
Listen for details. Page 96. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Pronunciation. Basic intonation patterns. A. Page 101. 1.
How much do these paintings cost?
2.
Is the library open?
3.
We're looking for Broadway.
4.
Walk north for 2 blocks.
5.
Are you sure?
6.
Please sign on the dotted line.
7.
Call me tomorrow at 6.
8.
Have you read her new book?
B. Page 102.
Did you watch Gravity yet? Yeah, Jay and I watched it last weekend. What did you think of it? The special effects were great. That's it?
Come on, tell me what you thought.
Well, the plot was ridiculous. I mean, it was hard to believe.
It's science fiction. It's not supposed to be realistic.
I know. I guess sci-fi isn't me. Jay thought it was pretty good. Did you like it?
Speaking skill. Avoiding answering questions. A. Page 103. 1.
How old are you?
I'd rather not say.
2.
What did you think of that book?
What did you think of it?
3.
Hello, is Nico there?
Who's calling?
4.
Is Joseph doing a good job?
Joseph is a very hard worker.
5.
Can I have your address, please?
I'm sorry, but I don't give out that information.
6.
Where were you on Friday?
Why do you need to know?
7.
Where do you want to have dinner?
Where would you like to go?
8.
How much did you pay for that car?
It was affordable, and we're very happy with it.
Unit 6. The Science of Food. The Q Classroom. Page 109.
In Unit 6, we're going to talk about the science of food. So let's start off with the Unit 6 question. How has science changed the food we eat? Una, what do you think?
Science has changed packaged food a lot. They add vitamins because they're good for us, and they use less fat and things that aren't good for us.
What do you think, Felix? How has science changed the food we eat?
Well, I think it's because of science that people eat so much packaged food. They've discovered ways to create food that people like, usually by adding a lot of salt or sugar. It's not healthy at all.
How else has science changed the food we eat? Marcus?
They've learned to make all kinds of things out of corn. They use corn syrup to sweeten sodas and candy and corn oil for frying. Corn is cheap to grow, so a lot of food is less expensive, like fast food. But I agree with Felix. It's not healthy.
Sophie, do you have any other answers to this question? How else has science changed the way we eat?
Well, science has changed the plants and animals we eat. A long time ago, corn was a small plant, but now it's a huge one. And the animals are bigger too, because they've figured out just the right diet to feed them to make them larger.
Some of you feel that science has made food less healthy. Do you think science has done anything good for our diets?
Absolutely. Because of science, we're able to grow more food and feed more people. Less hunger in the world is a very good thing.
Listening 1. Food additives linked to hyperactivity in kids. Listen for main ideas. Page 112.
The controversy about food additives and children's behavior continues, this time with a study linking food additives and a common preservative to hyperactivity. But not everyone is convinced this latest research is definite. Certain artificial food colorings and other additives can worsen hyperactive behaviors in children aged 3 to 9, UK researchers report. Tests on more than 300 children showed significant differences in their behavior when they drank fruit drinks mixed with food colorings and preservatives, say Professor Jim Stevenson and colleagues at the University of Southampton. These findings show that adverse effects are not just seen in children with extreme hyperactivity, but can also be seen in the general population, the researchers write. Stevenson's team, which has been studying the effects of food additives in children for years, made up drinks to test in a group of 3-year-olds and a second group of children aged 8 and 9. Children received ordinary fruit juice or a drink identical in look and taste, that contained common additives. Some children were given a drink containing colorings typically found in a couple of 50-gram bags of candy. Others were given a higher level of colorings, equal to consuming the additives in 4 of these bags. Parents, teachers, and the researchers then studied the children's behavior. Both mixtures significantly affected the older children when compared with the regular drink. Although the use of artificial coloring in food might seem superfluous, the same cannot be said for sodium benzoate, which has an important preservative function, the researchers write. The changes to food additive rules could be substantial. The issue of whether food additives can affect children's behavior has been controversial for decades. Dr. Benjamin Feingold has written books arguing that not only do artificial colors, flavors, and preservatives affect children, but so do natural chemicals found in some fruits and vegetables. Several studies have contradicted this notion, and some have only found an effect of food additives on the behavior of children diagnosed with extreme hyperactivity. In this latest research, children generally reacted poorly to the mixtures. We have found an adverse effect of food additives on the hyperactive behavior of 3-year-old and 8 to 9-year-old children, the researchers write. Stevenson has this message for parents. Parents should not think that simply taking these additives out of food will prevent all hyperactive disorders. We know that many other influences are at work, but this at least is one a child can avoid, he says. Dr. Sue Baek says that the study is well designed and potentially very important. It supports what scientists have known for a long time, that feeding children on diets that mainly consist of heavily processed foods, which may also be high in fat, salt, or sugar, is not optimal for health. Others disagree. The paper is not a demonstration of cause and effect, says Dr. Paul Illing.
Listen for details. Page 113. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Listening skill. Understanding bias in a presentation. A. Page 114.
Don't believe the organic hype. For too many people, eating healthier means buying organic food. People think that just because the label says organic, that the food is better for them. However, a quick look at the list of ingredients of many organic products shows that they can be just as high in salt, calories, and fat as normal foods. Just because some potato chips are made from organic potatoes doesn't mean it's a healthy choice to eat the whole bag. Furthermore, research shows that the dangers associated with eating too much high-calorie food are worse than eating food with additives or artificial coloring.
B. Page 114. Excerpt 1.
As the sale of fast food increases internationally, people's weights are increasing too. Several important international organizations, including the World Health Organization, are very concerned about the growing rate of obesity around the world. Scientists believe that fast food restaurants play a substantial role in more and more people becoming overweight.
Excerpt 2.
Can it really hurt your heart to drink 1 soda a day? A recent study published by the American Heart Association says it can. The report suggests that drinking even 1 soda a day can increase your chances of getting heart disease.
Excerpt 3.
Tea is one of the world's oldest and most popular drinks. In spite of the recent popularity of fancy coffee in parts of Asia, most people in China still look forward to the peace and calm they associate with the ancient practice of drinking tea.
Excerpt 4.
Can we believe what the food labels claim? Labels say things like all natural, or helps build healthy bones, or made with real fruit, or contains real chocolate, or helps burn fat. But research shows that food labels can often be confusing, or they try to make you believe something that isn't quite true.
Listening to the Flavor Saver Tomato. Listen for main ideas. Page 117.
Turning now to the world of science. Genetically altered food may soon be available at your local vegetable stand. The Flavor Saver tomato is already on sale in the United States. It's supposed to stay riper, fresher, and more flavorful than an ordinary tomato. It's also one of the first foods to be produced by biotechnology. But not everyone is a fan. As Nina Widham reports, consumers often have an uneasy reaction to scientifically improved food.
At the Kensington Fruit Market in Toronto, tables are piled high with everything from rutabagas to radicchio. People are picking through the produce, comparing prices and freshness. Ask them about genetically engineered vegetables.
No, I wouldn't go for genetically altered.
Yeah?
I wouldn't go for it.
And
even if it would be sweeter and maybe more tastier, but I wouldn't go for it.
I guess to begin with, you'd want to know what's going into it to see whether it's going to affect us.
I feel that if you tamper with nature, there's bound to be a rebound.
I think most people are scared of what, if something can be altered that much, is it really going to be good for them in the long run?
Genetic engineering is when scientists alter the chemical blueprint of an organism. They can make it develop the traits they want, sometimes by adding part of the blueprint from a completely different species. To some, the process seems fantastic, but to others it's disturbing. Professor Robert Strawn studies the ethics of biotechnology at the University of Reading.
People think that many aspects of our modern lifestyle are unnatural, and that is sort of coloured with moral overtones. Because it's unnatural, it must be bad.
But society has already accepted some genetic engineering, especially for medical uses. Insulin for diabetics, human growth hormone for underdeveloped children are two widely used products of biotechnology. It's when the science lab produces food that people start to back away. Stephen Burke is vice president of the North Carolina Biotechnology Center.
With food biotechnology, the issues are in many cases compounded. Not only are we concerned, or at least interested, in the application of the techniques and in the movement of different genes between different organisms, we are doubly interested because we are ourselves ingesting the result.
Burke says the biotechnology industry is realizing people have moral and cultural reactions to food, and so this very personal commodity may be the area where the debate over the ethics of biotechnology comes to a head. Susan Harlander is Director of Research with Land O'Lakes Dairies. She says the key for food producers will be to underline the benefits of biotechnology, such as higher quality foods. And she says people need to see the science done in a lab as a continuation of the science that has long been a part of farming.
I think most people don't understand breeding and selection and how much modification of the food supply has gone on with traditional agriculture and how little we can actually control what's happening in a traditional breeding experiment versus what we can control with genetic engineering.
Back at the Kensington Market, Linda Arugio is busy helping customers at the checkout counter. She says genetically engineered foods aren't that different from other hybrid products she's sold in the past. She remembers a lettuce, a cross between two varieties that people just wouldn't buy. But she says watermelon with no seeds has caught on and has loyal fans.
Once people get used to trying different things and they start thinking that it's all right, or even accepting that it's all right, or knowing that it's all right, they'll start buying it and getting more into it.
The uncertain reaction of consumers is only part of the hurdle faced by food producers. Genetically engineered foods are expected to cost considerably more than their old-fashioned counterparts, and people here will tell you that may be the ultimate turnoff.
Listen for details. Page 117. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Pronunciation. Other common intonation patterns. Page 122.
This tomato is genetically altered?
You eat 5 hamburgers a day?
I ate eggs, bacon, and cereal.
Would you like coffee?
Would you like coffee or iced tea?
A. Page 122. 1.
What? You've never eaten a tomato?
2.
Do you prefer water or juice?
3.
My favorite foods are rice, yams, and pizza.
4.
What did you say? You don't like ice cream?
5.
Are you hungry? Do you want some bread and cheese?
Speaking skill. Expressing interest during a conversation. A. Page 123.
Hey, Mark, is this seat free? Do you mind if I sit here?
Not at all. How are you doing?
I'm absolutely starving.
Really? Why?
I went to the gym this morning before school, and by 11 o'clock my stomach was growling in class.
Wow, that had to be embarrassing.
Definitely. So, what did you get for lunch?
Well, they're serving French onion soup today, so I got some of that. It's not bad, but not like home.
Yeah, French food is famous around the world, but I've never had it.
Well, I'm from Provence in the south of France. People take food very seriously there.
Mm-hmm.
People buy fresh fruit and vegetables from the market every day.
Every day?
Yeah, and the cheese is amazing. It tastes nothing like what we buy in the grocery stores here.
That's interesting. I feel that way about Japanese food here, too. It's not quite the same.